Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Bridging Black Love with
Misha.
and Dr. Jacqueline. And we're so excited to have our guest here with us today, and he's going to introduce himself and tell you all about him. Fred,
My
take
name
it.
is Fred. I'm a 44-year-old black man in a DFW Metroplex, single and just trying to navigate the single scene in 2021.
Awesome. So we'll get right into the questions, Fred. The first question being, what is it that a 40 plus year old man really wants? What are you looking for?
What I'm looking for relationship wise, I suppose,
Mhm.
uh is hopefully to find a woman that ready hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. A woman that's ready, willing, and really want to be a wife and want a man to lead and to be in the manly role and position in a household, you know.
Mhm.
And somehow, I guess, lines have been crossed or whatever has happened in the Black community is starting to build a wedge between Black men and Black women when it comes to love and relationship and roles in relationships.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Um,
you know,
so keeping what you want in mind. When vetting women to date, what attributes or values are important to you? Like, what impresses you with a woman?
first off, how she look. Like, you know, looks are important. It's like anything else. You're gonna look at the presentation before you want to bite into it or you want to open it up or whatever. The presentation is always important. So even with that being said, looks are in person. Looks are important. That's the first thing. Once I find that person to be pleasing or appealing to the eye, then I kind of want to know, are they friendly? Are they fun to be around? Are they inviting? Are they cool people? Like just somebody that I can just hang out with, have a good time with, and just be super cool. After that, then what are your ambitions? You know, you have any goals, any ambitions, uh, and then stuff like that. Like who you are at your core. You know, so honestly, like I really don't care if a woman makes a whole bunch of money, how successful she is in her business or her company or her career. That's like extra. But if you just a cool, fun, loving, caring person at your core, then that's that's one of the things that'll draw me into a woman is just her personality.
Hmm.
Because who you are, that's gonna last longer than any, or it has the ability to last longer than any kind of other achievements and stuff like that. Is your personality, because that's what's gonna keep somebody around when other shit might fall apart.
You know what, Fred? Just
Mhm.
really quickly, it's so interesting that you said looks, that's what attracts you. Because a lot of people, especially in our age groups, like, oh, looks don't matter. But how are you getting acquainted with the person if you're not attracted to them, like in what you see about them? So that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
All
is,
right.
Yeah.
Go
oh,
ahead, Fred.
oh no, I was saying like I feel like the reason why people are afraid to say looks up front is because of the backlash they may get by being called shallow or you know so they'll, even though they know that to be true and that's the first thing, one of the first things they pay attention to, a lot of times they're not going to say it because they don't want to ruffle any feathers or make make somebody feel bad. So a lot of times they won't say looks up front.
Or I think, I think looks are important. That's relative. Attractiveness and presentation are two different things. Because I know people and me personally, I kind of look how somebody is put together as a total package, meaning personality and do they wear their clothes well? Am I worried that when we go somewhere, they're going to walk in with a 2X baggy white t-shirt? So looks, I think, are relative. And I think when people say that as the first thing, I think the assumption is attractiveness, like whether or not other people will think that person is attractive. So I think that's why people aren't as readily saying looks, as important, because even if you could be Omari Hardwick, but if your personality sucks and you're arrogant, I don't even look at you anymore. Yeah. You ain't cute at all. So
yeah, but what I'm saying is that initial attraction. I don't think that a lot of people are like, I'm attracted, unless you get to know them and a certain social.
Right.
But a lot of times I feel like a lot of times people are very afraid to say that they're attracted to somebody physically. Like it means that, like Brett said, you're shallow. And of course, we know that more than physicality definitely plays a factor in how you relate to somebody. And if you find them overall attractive. But I think sometimes people are like, oh, looks don't matter. And so it's interesting. We'll delve into that more. We got some more questions for you.
All right. So the next question, when vetting women, what are some of the common red flags that you look for?
Me personally, common red flags, depending on age, marriage, like if you've never been married, the amount of kids you have, the amount of baby daddies you have, how long were you in relationships without marriage? Things like those are kind of red flags that I kind of always want to dig deeper into and kind of understand, like it's been situations where I was just talking to a woman on the phone and she was like, I was with my baby daddy for 10 years. I said, oh, y'all was married. She was like, nah, we never got married. I didn't see him as somebody I could marry. But I was like, if y'all was in a relationship for 10 years, y'all had kids, and you didn't see him fit to marry, then you just good at wasting time. And that's how I look at it. That's just my personal, thought process. Like they're not good enough to marry, but you can pretty much put your life on the line to have a kid by somebody where you could die during childbirth. Or you can waste 10 good years of your life with somebody that you don't see fit to even marry. So then, to me, I always ask more questions because I be wanting to get into the mental of why somebody would do something like that. So that's always a red flag, and like past, like I ask women about sometimes their kids' fathers or whatever. What did he do? What type of guy was he? And if you have a track record of having babies and dating hood dudes to street dudes, then I'm not going to be the guy for you, because at the end of the day, I ain't the pawn shop. And after you wasted your whole life with lower level dudes, now you want to come to me and now be like, all right, now I'm ready to chill out. I don't feel like that's my, I'm not the retirement plan after you done lived your whole life of mistakes, So that's like some of the things I look at.
Well, can you elaborate a little bit about, I kind of giggled, and not because I thought it was funny, just the pawn shop reference was funny, but I think you brought up a good point about feeling like you're like the last stop or the retirement plan, like the smart decision after somebody's made various others. But say this woman had 3 kids. She was in a relationship early in her 20s with this person for 10 years. Now she only, 30. And she's grown a lot. And she's become a different person. So now she's looking for somebody who matches who she is and what she values now at 30 plus. versus what was impressive to her at 20. Would you still look at her as someone that's trying to use you as a pawn shop, or?
I would say if you in your 20s and you have one kid by the guy you was with for that 10 years, it'll be a conversation, but I'm still gonna be interested in, you know, seeing how you've grown and, just your thought process. You know, also now the thing is as well, if in your 20s you was with that one same guy the whole time, then that's cool because you ain't collected a whole bunch of bodies. You ain't been on a carousel, you know. So that that's kind of a good thing as well.
Okay.
You know,
Right, can I ask you a
she
question?
didn't go through that phase. Uh-huh.
Can I ask you a question? Just because I know that you said you put
Sure.
on marriage. So what if you do meet a woman in her early 40s and she's never been married? And she doesn't have any children? Is that something that's going to disqualify her? Are you going to say, hey, basically, why were you never chosen? Do you look at people who have never been married as sometimes never being chosen? How do you make that distinction if they are in their early 40s and they have never been married? How do you feel about dating them?
Now I always ask, like, so if you've never been married, have have a guy ever proposed to you? Have he ever presented you a ring? You know, and you get some women that say, well, I turned down 2 or 3 engagements. Well, if you're turning down engagements, then what's different now with 40 than in your 20s and 30s when these guys was trying to marry you, when you was in your prime? Now you're older. Now you ready to get married? To me, it's like, why? All your best years, all your young years, your, you know, you didn't want it. Now you want it now. You know, so it's like that. Now, some women that's never been proposed to, some women that's messed with the wrong dudes. Like, you know, I just watched a lady friend of mine think that take she can take care of a man, and because of that, it messed her whole life up. Thinking that you can take care of a man, what happened is a lot of women, not all, a lot of women just date the wrong type of dudes, and they end up in a cycle doing it over and over and over. And yeah, then they end up in their late 30s and 40s figuring out, like, damn, like, I might need to try something different because I'm not getting the best results, and I'm tired of going through this. I'm tired of going through that. And, but at the end of the day, it's the people that you choose, because a man, we ask y'all, all right, I want to be your man. I want to be in a relationship with you. Y'all have the choice to say yes or no. Now, after y'all choose to say yes or no, then we have the choice to follow up behind that with a ring and ask for marriage. And I think what happens is a lot of times, unfortunately, this day and age, a lot of women will be cool with dating a guy or being in a relationship with a guy, never actually telling him, look, this is what I want, this is what I desire. And if you can't do this, you got to kick rocks. So hopefully I kind of answered your question some kind of way.
Yeah, okay. I still have a lot more questions for you, but we're going to keep moving on with these questions. I'm going to save mine to the end. Go ahead.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about your requirements and what you're looking for. So should you meet a woman with all of those requirements, how do you decide when you're ready to commit to her?
So the thing is, like, as a man, I feel like I know within the first, really, for me personally, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know for me personally, it only take maybe a couple of months before I really know, like, this is a woman I can see myself with for the rest of my life. It don't take a year, 2, 3, 4 years. It don't take that. We know within the first couple of months, a lot of time, if she's wifey or she's just a time waster. You know, somebody just to deal with until you meet the woman you want to marry. That's why you will see like people be in relationships for 3 and 4 and 5 years. The dude will leave and then immediately marry somebody else within the first year or two. They already remarried because they was just with you until because you was comfortable, and they was with you until they was able to actually find that woman they want to marry, and boom, they get on it quick. You're gonna lock down what you want long term, or you just gonna play with some. You play with your toys, but when it's time to lock something down, you're gonna do it, and it's not gonna take forever when you're ready.
Mhm. Okay. With all that in mind, have you found yourself finding reasons not to commit? So you meet somebody, you like them, they meet your requirements. You kind of think you could see something with them. Do you ever kind of talk yourself out of that commitment or psych yourself out?
I've done it the whole time I've been divorced for like almost 6 years. I do it every relationship I'm in. And so it's something that I've had to get counseling for and figure out why do I nitpick and make the person that I have that connection with not the person. Like, oh man, I don't really like how she sneezes, or I don't like the way her pinky toe look, or it'll be like the stupidest thing. I don't like the way her breath smell after she eats some chicken wings or some shit. But it'll be the stupidest stuff. But yes, I for sure found ways to dismiss really good women for really the dumbest reasons. And why I do it, I just feel like I was married for so long, and a lot of the time I was married, I wasn't happy. And so I find ways to get out of really good situations just to avoid the, I don't, to avoid the feeling of being in a sucky relationship,
Mm.
you know,
Fred, may I ask you a
but
question?
sure.
What's your dating range? Like, what is your age range of dating?
Uh, at this point, it's probably like 25 to maybe 42.
Okay. And out of that dating range,
And
25 to 42, is there anything that you notice different between dating somebody in their 20s, their 30s, and their 40s? And if so, which group do you gravitate towards or feel like you have more in common with?
well, I would say the early 30s. And the reason why is a lot of times you get sisters around 28 through 34. And that's the age range where you're out of school. Some of your friends are married, some of them not. You know, some of them are having kids, some of them not. And now it's like, all right, I got my degree, I'm in my career. Now I'm ready for a relationship. Or I'm done with my freak phase. I'm ready for a relationship. Or I don't want to wait until I'm in my late 30s and 40s to start having kids and building a family, because then it's too late. So when dating women in their mid to late 20s, it's like, especially some of the ones that I've dated, they get to pretty much choose who they want.
Mhm.
They the girls that go to to the club or go anywhere and people buying them drinks or letting them in VIP. So they at the height of they sexy, they at the height of everything. So they get to choose. But after like 34, 35 and up, then it's more like sometimes some women can get to the point where I ain't really found what I've been looking for. You know, they don't have 4 or 5 failed bad relationships. So then it's like, man, if damned if I do, damned if I don't. I really don't care. I might find a man, I might not. If not, I don't care. I just do it on my own. And women with that attitude is very hard to date because I personally don't want to jump backwards through hoops with gasoline draws on and the hoop is on fire to get her to actually let her guard down and pursue a relationship. And it's harder to do. And then to me, once they get like 42 and up, then it's just like, it's damn near impossible.
Okay.
It's hard, really hard.
Why is that? Why is it for the 42 and older? Why is it hard?
Because they've had too many bad relationships, too many accumulated too much, a lot, especially the ones that are successful. They've accumulated so much by themselves. They've got to the point where they're fine with being by themselves, you know, and it's just like, I don't really need you. I mean, if you come around, you can, but it's no like, I want you. I want to be with you. It's more like, it's whatever, you know, take me high. My really don't need you, but you know, I'll see what's up. And you know, so it's like that ain't attractive to me.
You said a word.
Yeah.
Okay. And we probably gonna go back to some of these things, but I'm gonna get through these next couple questions.
Yeah, because I have more. You.
Me too. When was the last time, if ever, you felt vulnerable with a woman?
So I'm in a weird space right now with my love life, but I would say the girl that I'm dating now, I was probably most vulnerable with her the first time we dated. But the thing is, I was so vulnerable with her and she was so vulnerable with me that shit went real good, real fast, and I reverted back to what I always do. And so I destroyed the relationship, you know, because I was like, damn, she's getting real close. She knows a lot about me. I really just let her into my life. And I was like, it was just like kind of like PTSD. I was like, I gotta destroy this relationship some kind of way. And so I did. And so we just started back talking like a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I have allowed myself to be vulnerable. That was probably really honestly probably like the only time.
Does that include your marriage?
I feel like my when I look back at my marriage, I just feel like I was young and I was doing what I thought was the right thing. You know, I got married like 20, 21. We had kids. You know, we would stay married for 17 years. But to feel like I was like madly in love and madly vulnerable and all that, I don't think so. Because when it was over, I was like, all right, I'm out. Like I had no emotions, no feelings, no nothing. All I wanted to do was make sure my kids was good. Other than that, no, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty similar here. Yeah.
And I know you mentioned therapy before. Are you still in therapy and still actively working on, you know, some of the things that you feel you may need to overcome?
Well, now I'm not in therapy now, but I just changed the circle of people I surround myself with, you know, to make sure I stay on the right path. So Like I used to have a lot of guy friends. I don't have really guy friends anymore. I like to talk to women, and the reason why I like to talk to women because I'm not a woman, but I want a woman. So I have to understand what a woman wants from a woman's point of view. At the same time, I ask women to do the same thing. Like if you want a man, you have to be friends with men that for one, not attracted to you, don't want to get with you, but will always keep it 100 and tell you the honest to God truth. And I feel like that's the best way we have to be. If the end result is we want a marriage and a life partner with somebody of the opposite sex, you have to know what the other sex actually really wants, needs, and desire. And you can't get that from talking to your female friends. You can only get that from men.
Okay. Just last clarifying question for you about I appreciate your transparency in saying that you know that you are a self-saboteur. What are you doing to work on that? To know that you get to this point, you had somebody who was really great in your life. I'm glad you guys are reconnected, but what are you doing to calm that inner voice and move forward?
Well, what I had to understand is what to figure out is when you're in a relationship with a woman or anybody, it's going to get boring. And so the boring part of the relationship is maybe for me about 6 to 7 months in. It gets kind of boring. But it gets boring because I'm super duper easy to talk to. I'm super duper chill. And the woman will let her guard down. What I had to understand is just because she lets her guards down, she makes herself vulnerable to me. That boring part is really the best part because they trust you. And back in the day, it was hard to get sex. So usually if a woman gave you sex, that means she really, really cared. These days, not so much. Sex is just, you can just get it anywhere, at any time you want it. So it doesn't really mean much. But once a woman is vulnerable with you to where she can walk around without her hair done, without makeup on, and whatever. That's when it gets boring, but that's when it's good. And I didn't understand that. That's really the best part, And so now it's like, yes, I understand that and I can deal with it better once it happens again. But at the same time, also it's just like you have to keep dating that person. You have to keep taking them out, showing them good times, letting them know they're loved, they're cared, they're beautiful, and all that stuff. And a lot of times, me personally, I'll get complacent, and just, be like, she here, she ain't going nowhere, or whatever. So hopefully I answered that.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect segue into the last question. And then I think we probably got a couple more questions for you. But what advice would you give a 40-plus-year-old woman in dating and relationships?
My advice, because I meet a lot of really good women. My advice is, first of all, don't do too much too fast. Also, allow the man to pursue you. If he's interested, he's going to pursue you. Now, while he's pursuing you, you also have to give back that same energy. Don't just make him feel like he's chasing you and you running, but he's not getting anywhere. Also, the advice I would give is like get out and meet people, mingle, make yourself seen, noticed amongst the people that you want to attract. And then once you do attract who you want to attract, then it's all about personality. You got to give them your, like the personality you'll give your boss at work, or the personality you get a person giving you a job interview. Give them that personality, that nice, sweet, fun, bubbly, you know, happy person. You know, be happy, easy to be around, outgoing, you know, friendly, submissive. Not too submissive, but just sweet. Just a sweet person. Not that, yeah, whatever. Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. That shit is such a turn off, you know, but when smiling, you're cordial, that's what I would say, be friendly. Treat them, treat a guy that you want to meet friendly, you know. So friendly, fun, feminine, you know, just be a good person and put yourself out there amongst the people that you want to attract.
Okay.
I've actually had a conversation with 3 men in the last week who said that they want a woman to be nice and kind. It kind of sounds like what you were saying. Can you elaborate a little bit? You kind of did, but a little bit more on both being feminine and being nice and kind. What? How does that look?
It looks like, uh, hey, what's going on? Or I speak to a woman and she smiles. She said, I'm doing great. How are you? You know, and, you know, maybe she smiles. You know, she looks you in your eye. She lets you know that she is inviting you into her space. You know, it's it's just the charm of a woman. It's just smiling, looking a man in the eye, you know, maybe a little contact. Boy, what, you know, a tap on the arm, a tap on the leg, or on the shoulder, just being friendly and engaging, you know, not being dry, not sitting there with just look, looking mean, you know, the, it just like, I feel like it's the same attitude that a woman to give somebody on a job interview that they really, really want. That energy.
Is that the same when you're actually dating her already? Like, how does that nice and kind look?
So so like the other day, my friend, she was like, hey, can you go pick up my TV from Best Buy and set it up? Boom. I picked up the TV, I set it up. Ah, you did such a wonderful job. Like, I so much appreciate that. That was so sweet. What you want me to cook? Like, I really appreciate you for doing that. Just that is enough. Now, could she have got her own TV, set it up her own self? She could have, but asking your guy to do it makes us feel like we're wanted and we're needed. It's for sure y'all can do stuff, but if you got a guy there to do it, then you should let him. It's just like if you have a bug, yeah, you can smash it yourself, but you like, babe, come here, come kill this bug. Oh my God. And then he do it and you give him praise. It's like I told my daughter, treat the guy you want like your dog. Women treat their dog with so much love, attention, and respect to where every time she comes home, that dog is at that front door jumping up and down because he can't wait to see her. Why? Because she's going to make sure that dog gets his water, his food, walked, affection, and personal time without nothing. A dog don't have to do nothing to get all that from a woman. But then for a man to get treated like her dog, a lot of times we got to jump through hoops, you know? So it's just like, it's really not hard. Once you find the man that, you know, you really connect with, then you treat him like your dog.
Oh, okay.
That's a
And,
good point. I never thought about it that way. That's kind of awesome.
and then, oh, I have a quick question. How important is it that you're needed? Like they verbalize that to you. Is that important for a woman to vocalize and verbalize how she needs you and she appreciates you? Understand about that part, but she needs you and needs your help.
Yes. Yeah, because in a man's ego is important. And I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of women understand how a man egos work. And if you stroke is it goes a lot further. I feel like personally, you get better long-term results stroking a man ego more than you would stroking a man something else.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
They,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of women out there that turn tricks on or whatever. But a woman that knows how to stroke a man's ego and make him feel wanted and needed, that goes a whole lot further.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You have any follow-up questions, Jackie?
I do, I do, I do.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So, is there any hope out there for the 40-year-old woman, the 40-plus-year-old woman who has never been married, who doesn't have any kids? Is there any way that men are going to look at her as she's still wanted, as she's still valued? How does a woman who is in her 40s, who hasn't had marriage, and maybe nobody has proposed to her, or maybe she had a child young, and she, what does she have any hope for anybody, for men that are also 40?
It's is hope. It's just a smaller window.
Mm,
It's just a smaller window. And I'm gonna tell you why. At 44, I can date a woman 25, I can date a woman 45, I can date a woman 55. And I'm appealing to them all.
mhm,
So I have to pretty much choose
Uh-oh.
oh, you went mute.
Wait.
over a woman super young, less baggage, less bad experience, and I can actually show her some things she never seen before.
Mm,
Now, you do have a lot of men that can also see a lot of value in older women where they don't, you know, their maturity, their age, and their life experience also brings, you know, uh, other things that they may want. So it's just like when I talk to women in their 40s and late 40s, you can't have the same list of requirements as a woman in her 20s. Your list of retirement requirements can't be that long. Like you pretty much gotta be like, all right, I like you, you like me. All right, let's try to see what's up. You know,
Mhm.
because the longer your list is, the age range is still gonna be an issue. It's still gonna be an issue. Like, say you want Morris Chestnut,
Hey.
you know what I'm saying? But Morris Chestnut can have Chloe Bailey or he can have Tracy Ellis Ross. He's probably gonna go for the young thing just because. But if you cool with just having, you know, just a regular guy, because more than likely you're just a normal regular woman, then your chances will be better. Sometimes people just be reaching, and you kind of got to understand your lane, you know. And I feel like a woman lane is a whole lot wider and have way options when she's younger compared to when she's older.
Mm.
So there is hope. It just sometimes you have to adjust your, you know, what you really want or what you're asking for.
okay. So you're not saying by the time a woman's 45, we should just put her on a igloo and like on an iceberg and float her out into sea because she's done. She's a rat. There's no more for you.
It's
No hope for you, girl.
if it just depends on her, and she know. And a lot of times, women know exactly where their flaws are and what they can do to make themselves more appealing, but they won't. If you know you 5'2", 475, your chances are slim to none. I mean, it is what it is. You know, you 40 plus and you morbidly obese. And even the women like that I've met, they still have eyes like they supposed to get the best type of dude and won't settle. I've heard it so many times. I refuse to settle. I refuse to settle. I'm not gonna change my, but I'm like, if I got with you, I would be settled.
But nobody on my 600-pound life is single. A lot of those women are not single on my 600-pound life. They're not.
But okay, let's look at that though. Look at it. So on my 600-pound life, the majority of them women are married. But look at the guys that they're married to.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna bring up that
They're
point.
usually the same guys. They're the same guys on their level. They're low level guys. They're not high level guys. They're low level guys. But what is smart, they understand their lane and they stay in it. So it's cool. That's why they always are married, because they understand I'm 600 pounds. I'm not going to get better than a fry cook at McDonald's, and they be happy with it. George Jefferson was happy with Wheezy. Wheezy wasn't a runway model, but George Jefferson wasn't either. Florida Evans was happy with James Evans. Neither one of them was rich. Neither one of them was super beautiful, but they found love with somebody on their level and they made it work. Now, it's not like that. People are reaching outside of their level and mad that they can't get it, other than just being, I'm a mailman, like, so for me to think I can go snatch up Oprah, it ain't gonna happen. Even though if I had, but at the same time, if I had Oprah money, I wouldn't want Oprah. But it just is like people have to stay in their lane and really have to choose wisely and just understand the position they in. I can't go put in an application for a job as a chemical engineer, and I never went to school for engineering, but I think I should just have that job because it pays a lot. I haven't did nothing to get that job.
Do you think that we overinflate what our lane is? So like, and I mean, I've been guilty in certain ways, but as women, I do hear us say, I've accomplished these things. I have these things. I think I'm a beautiful woman. I think I should have this type of man. And I've heard men do the same, in reverse. Whereas I know that men can kind of get away with a little more if his money's right. But do you think that we overinflate our lane?
Yes, a lot of women overinflate their lane, and I always say, if you just want to be 100% truthful, just go in the mirror, strip butt naked, take all your weave off, all your makeup off, strip down in the mirror, and just look at yourself butt naked. And start there. Then you got to look at your attitude, your attitude, how you interact with people. And only you can be truthful to yourself. And once you're truthful to yourself, then you should be able to really pick the lane that you should be in, and be happy in that. If you average, then you're going to get an average man. And the majority of people are average. So you get what you are. Don't, also, men, like for me, when a woman started telling me about how much money she make and all this stuff she own, that go in one ear and out the other. Because I don't really care, how much money a woman make, all of her monetary accomplishments. That's cool. That's icing on the cake. But it's like, are you nice? Are you sweet? Are you cool? Are you fun to be around? And are you pleasing to the eye? And then are you a trustworthy person? Those are the important things, but yes, women do be overreaching. You can't be, you see guys on a certain level with certain types of women. And if you know you don't fit in that mold, then you shouldn't even try to jump out there. So.
Yeah, I was gonna. I feel like me and Jackie might be on the same wavelength, or close, or we close. Do you think so? That advice you gave, it seems like it's more so focused on women. I do see a lot of men jumping out of their lane. Like you said, this person might have Oprah money or uber successful in this area, and you just quit your McDonald's job last week, but y'all Facebook friends, so you think, I might as well shoot my shot. And she's superficial if she doesn't respond to me. So do you think that advice you gave about like kind of being realistic about where you are physically and mentally, and then staying in that lane, do you think that same advice is relevant to men?
So for men, it's different. We live in a world full of double standards. Honestly, men get better with age. And, a dude could be in the streets all his 20s and 30s. And then he hit 40, get his stuff together, put a suit on, start making something out of himself. And all what he did in the past, it won't matter. But for women, unfortunately, it don't work the same. Because men and women are not the same. We don't look at everything the same. Now, a woman should, if the dude work at McDonald's and you have a good career job and he try to holler at you, then he out of his lane. Get yourself together. Get on your purpose. Because what do you have to offer a woman as a man? A woman is never supposed to take care of a man, especially not initially. Unless something happened, they're together and something happened physically, she is not supposed to take care of a man. That is not the role of a woman. So for sure, a dude is out of his lane if he broke, but still try to pursue a woman with means. The only deal is a lot of women do it. I seen it. I just seen it. And it broke this chick down. It broke her. But women are not men because at the same way, I can get a girl from McDonald's that work on fries, take her in, and be totally fine. But it don't work both ways, and it's not meant to work both ways.
So what if she makes $300,000, $400,000 a year and he makes 80? I mean, and relatively that's broke compared to what she has. So realistically, I mean, how realistic is it that a woman making an extensive amount of money is going to find a man that, keeping all those other things in mind about her lane, how does she navigate that then? Like, he ain't the fry cook, maybe he's just the operations manager somewhere. He's taking care of himself though.
So if a man is self-sufficient, he can pay his own bills, he has ambition, he has goals, and say he making 80,000, she making 300,000. I've been in that situation before. She tells me, well, I don't date men that don't have college degrees. I want a man that's cultured, that's been somewhere, that's been around the world, that's done this and that. you know, and I was like, all right, that's fine. And I asked her, I say, so with your college degree and the money you make every year, how much do you owe in student loan debt? She was like, I owe about $40,000 in student loan debt. You know, then you ask a few more questions, and what you find out, yeah, she may make $300,000 a year, but she still don't make more money than me, because it's not about what comes in, it's what you keep. And a lot of times that's what happens. You get people, period, that make lots of money, but they're still broke because they live above their means. And somebody like me that's never been to college, I still keep a lot of money that I make. Whereas people that I know that's made more than me, they're in debt, credit card debt, student loan debt, cars, all this other stuff, to where they still damn near check to check. So a lot of times it's going to equal out. And if it's not that same scenario, cool. If you get with a woman, she make 300, you make 80, everything's equal, then you make sure, you keep a car full of gas. You work around, you do stuff around the house. You still do manly stuff to, to let her know that you still the man, you still the masculine, and you still the head. Because you can't be intimidated by a woman's money. Like, you can't do that. But you also have to be secure in yourself as a man, and already was getting it and doing your own thing before you met her. If not, she might still take you in, but she's gonna son you. She's gonna treat you like you her son, and after a while, you're gonna have resentment towards her.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Anything else?
I love how we both said at the same time.
Yeah, that son in you thing is very, very, very real. Sometimes I think men put themselves in that son position. But yeah, I definitely think some of us women will, when that respect is out in the window, you will definitely get sunned or shunned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was it.
Well,
That's my question.
Fred, I just appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us today. It was quite
no problem.
titillating. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Cool. Hopefully you'll be back one day.
Yes, you will. So thank you to everybody who watched on Bridging Black Love. Follow us and have a great day.